Swift Jane.
Hyped up yet? Well, buckle your seatbelts, people, because I've got another classic lesson of psychology coming at you from the campus of Wesleyan University. In this installation, I, John Cody, wanted to learn more about people's relationships with their parents. Do you ever wonder if your parents have a favorite child? Well, if you're anything like me, you are horrified thinking about their answer to this question. How could you be so cruel as to rank your own children? So I thought it might be interesting to look at it from the opposite perspective and ask Wesleyan students who they were more attached to and why. But I didn't just stop there. I wanted to see how gender and age affected these relationships as well. So, I randomly stopped 21 people all around campus and asked them 3 questions. Are you more attached to your mom or your dad, and why? Do you think gender has anything to do with these relationships? And when you were a child, would your answer have changed? Let's look and see how students answered the first question. Are you more attached to your mom or your dad, and why?
My mom.
My mom.
I would say my mom.
I'd probably say my mom.
Definitely my dad.
I think I'm equally attached to both of my parents.
Probably my mom. I feel like it changes.
I think definitely my mom.
My dad.
I am equally attached to both my parents. My mom.
My dad.
I'm attached to both of them equally, I would say.
My mom.
My mom.
I'm definitely more attached to my mom.
Definitely my mom.
My mom.
My mom.
That's really deep, dude. I don't know how to answer that.
So, was it what you expected? 83% of students answered that they were closer with their mom. Let's see what this majority has to say about why they were more attached to their mother. Why?
Kind of cliche, but I don't have a sister, I have 2 younger brothers, so I kind of like developed this relationship with her where we become really close and I'm really open with her with like everything in my life, so she's kind of my go-to person.
So my mom's like around more and has historically been, my mom has historically been around more because like she stays at home and my dad does work.
When I was younger, my dad worked a lot. Definitely like pretty close to both of them, obviously, but probably my mom.
She was more of the authoritarian figure in my family, and also the one that kind of gets things done around the house while my dad works.
Because mom spent more time with us.
I think just our personalities go better together, and she understands me better than my dad does.
She's more like my friend than my dad. It's like very clear that he's my dad. My mom's a little closer in that sense.
She's just a cooler person, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know. She's like my best friend. So.
She's the more talkative and open one out of the 2, and our personalities match better.
She's more similar to me, so I tell her more things, and she's like my best friend. Yeah.
My mother stayed home with me the majority of my high school time, so she's definitely more of like a nurturing figure.
There's definitely a feeling of where the mom is the nursing one and who basically has birthed me, so there's more of that correlation and effect.
She's so caring. I don't know. She's my mommy. I don't know.
Did you notice a pattern? Now let's look at how the other 17% explain themselves.
I think I would have said it's close to my dad due to the aspect of sports and masculinity.
Because I'm an athlete and I find that he loves sports and I can resonate with him more about that stuff and talk to him more about it.
Closer with my dad because I would say we interact more often. We do more personal things, so like we work on things together. I don't have that same connection with my mom.
Yeah, my dad stayed at home a lot and was with us a lot more. So.
Next, we take a more psychological look at this question. So let me ask, do you think your gender has anything to do with those relationships? From the last question, 61% of people answered that they were closer to the parent of the same sex as themselves. So, do you expect around the same percent of people to say that their relationship with their parents was affected by gender? Do you think your gender has anything to do with these relationships?
Maybe, I think so.
Possibly.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I do think so. I think so.
Probably.
No.
Maybe slightly.
No.
Maybe. I'm kind of a huge mama's boy.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
I don't think so. No.
No.
Yeah, I do.
Not necessarily.
Just in the sense that like the things that like I feel attached to my mom to are sometimes more like in a more girl kind of way, and then with my dad it's like more of like a personality.
I feel like kind of as you get older, like they understand more. Like they can just come from personal experience, and kind of the opposite gender parent can.
Because we face some of the same issues, so it's easier to talk to her about them.
My mom works. Like she's a doctor, and now that like I'm older and like also entering the working world, we like can talk about like, you know, institutional like sexism and things like that. And I mean, obviously my dad isn't like fuck that, but like he obviously, being a man, he doesn't identify with it in the way that me and my mom does.
Like a lot of my cousins, I would say like my guy cousins are closer with their dads and my girl cousins are closer with their moms, so I feel like it's kind of a trend in that way.
My sister's probably a lot closer with my mom because they have like closer relationships because like they have similar experiences, like because they are both women.
Perhaps it's my parents' gender because like my dad really has a tendency to mansplain with a capital M, and I really hate it because he's a doctor, and that's kind of, doctors always do that.
Not my mom, who's also a doctor.
Yeah, but see, maybe it's because he's a man. Yeah, and so like I don't know, I just like find my dad like more irritating.
Well, it turns out it was around the same percent. 57% of people asked said that gender had an effect on who they were more attached to. So, no real noticeable difference, and we can't say for certain it has an effect. And perhaps more noticeably, only 63% of the people who said they were closer to the parent of the same sex said that gender had an effect on this. But their explanations provide their own story. Now, let's look at how age affects these relationships. Do you think your answer would have changed when you were a little kid?
When I was a little kid, I don't think so, because I've always been close to my mom from a young age until now.
I don't think so.
No.
No, it's been pretty much the same.
I don't think so. No.
I think it's remained pretty consistent.
Probably not.
No, it would probably remain the same as a kid.
Probably.
No.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was a lot closer with my mom.
No.
Would you feel the same way if you were a child?
Ooh. I think so. Yeah.
Do you think you would have felt the same way when you were a kid?
Yes.
If you were a kid, would you feel the same way?
Yeah.
I would say that I was close to both my parents when I was young, probably the same amount, but since they're divorced, I now live with my mom, which has definitely affected how close I am with her and like increased that compared to how I am compared to my dad.
I feel like when I was younger, I was closer with my dad, and now that I'm older, I'm closer with my mom.
When I was younger, I was kind of more of like a tomboy, and I would like play a lot of sports, and like my dad would always drive me to I still do, and like I still feel that connection with my dad, but I think that just as I got older, like I started to get more emotionally attached to my mom, but I still like have more in common with my dad, if that makes sense.
So my dad seemed more irritable with age, and then my mom was like kind of mellowed out.
Well, there you have it. So what have we learned? It appears that mothers were the overwhelming majority for the more attached parent. The females who chose their mother seemed to think it was because their personalities matched better, due to similar interests. But only a little more than half of these females said gender had affected this relationship. The males who answered mom seemed to think that it was because she was home more often, around more, and more of the nurturer. There was no majority for whether gender played any role, but yet the responses were almost all based around the closer parent facing similar societal issues. But is this not inherently based off gender? Unlike the last two questions, with unique patterns developing, the majority of the third question's answers seem to be pretty concretely that their view has not changed since childhood. So, what does this say about when humans make their closest connections? Especially if a lot of the people who claim to be more attached to their mother said it was because she was home more often, while the father was out working. Scary, right? Well, there's still hope for you fathers out there. There is clearly potential for both parents to have the opportunity to be close to their children, as we can tell from the wide variety of answers we obtained. Whether you are a parent, son, or daughter, clearly everyone has a unique relationship that cannot be defined by a set of parameters. Despite the patterns noted in this video, everyone seemed to have strong, wonderful connections with both parents, regardless of who they said they were closer to. So let's all cherish these relationships, no matter what they may look like on the outside.